Hey scholars, happy early Pi Day. So Pi Day will be March 14th. This year that's on a Sunday. So for Friday the 12th, we're going to start celebrating Pi Day. I know I'm already wearing my Super Pi Day shirt from my college math club. That was 3/14/15. So we are going to kind of start looking at some circles today and then do some pi activities in class. So our objective today is that we can calculate the circumference of a circle. So our review question actually goes back to proportionality. Samaj is measuring the diameter, so across. So like if I have a can here, she's measuring across through the center of a circle, and the circumference, which is the outside of the same cans. So she's making a table. So she might be looking at soup cans, she's looking at some soda cans, she's looking at whatever can she finds. So she found that the diameter, so all the way across, was 3 centimeters, and the circumference was then 9.3. She found another one where the diameter was 10, and the circumference was 31.4 centimeters, and diameter was 5, and then the circumference was 15. So our first question says, do you think circumference is proportional to diameter, and why? So pause the video, you're going to have to think back to when we did proportions in Unit 3 and see, do you think this is proportional and why? Okay, so if you went through and you did all these, so I'm going to open up. So we want to do y divided by x, so circumference divided by diameter. So if we do 9.3 divided by 3, we get 3.1. So let's start filling in this table. So here's going to be my K, my unit rate. This one we got 3.1. Now we're going to do 31.4 divided by 10. And I get 3.14. These numbers are already kind of looking a little familiar. And then 15 divided by 5 we know is 3. So normally when we ever talk about proportionality, we have like very good solid numbers, and we're looking for a constant unit rate. But here, this is Samaj measuring, and I don't know the last time you guys measured something with a ruler or even like tried to measure something round, but sometimes it's pretty hard to get accurate numbers. So we can say this is proportional, but maybe the numbers are off by human error. So this is kind of more of like, do you think it is? But I'm going to tell you right now, circumference is proportional to diameter. And maybe you're already kind of recognizing some of those numbers. So circumference is proportional to diameter. So when we're measuring things, we're not perfect. So maybe Samaj can only see to a millimeter on her ruler, which is why she gets to these decimals, but she can't measure it out further. So what that constant proportionality, what that unit rate actually is, and why we wouldn't really be able to get it with Samaj measuring, is it's pi. So today is Pi Day. Pi is this kind of crazy number. It starts with 3.14, which is what most of like the general population, if you ask them what pi is. But the decimal goes on and on and on and on, and it never repeats. So even on our calculator, there is a pi button right here. So it's a Greek symbol because we can't write forever. Your calculator is not going to show you all of the decimal places because you have a limited screen and it goes forever and your screen can't show you forever, but it will work really well. It will work better than if we're just rounding and using 3.14. So we're going to be using this pi button a lot today, because this is what that constant of proportionality between circumference around a circle and diameter straight across the middle of a circle. That is what that constant of proportionality is. That is what pi is. And because circles are weird, it's what we call an irrational number, which means this decimal never repeats and it never ends. It goes on forever. So we're also going to do a pi memorization contest today. So hopefully you guys have been working on memorizing the digits of pi. But let's start looking at some different work here. So here we have a circle. We're going to use the word bank to label the different vocabulary words on the circle below. So if you're paying attention, you could label at least circumference and diameter, and I bet you could figure out center and radius. So pause the video and label these 4 words now. Okay, so hopefully you can tell that this point in the middle is the center. Circumference, I just said, is all the way around. See if I can write it a little sideways. Okay, so circumference goes all the way around the outside, all the way around. Diameter is this light blue line. So let's actually write it in light blue. Goes all the way across, and the radius just goes from the center out. So those are the 2 things we're going to be talking about today. It's important that we kind of see right here that diameter is just twice the radius, right? So instead of going just from the center out, diameter goes from the side to the center and then out. So diameter is 2 times the radius. So that's going to be important when we're doing some problems today. So let's get into our notes. So as we saw in our DIN review, diameter and circumference are proportional to each other. So you guys can actually try this experiment. Find some cans, measure straight across through the center, measure their circumference, and that constant proportionality, that unit rate, is pi. So it's about 3.1415926.5. That's about as far as Miss Marnon can go. And we use this Greek symbol pi. When you're typing in OneNote, if you want to get a pi symbol, you have to go to Insert, and then here's Symbol, and you can find pi right here. So that's where, if you want to type pi, when we draw it, we usually just kind of do 2 lines and a squiggle on top. You'll see me doing it. And that's kind of because mathematicians are lazy. We don't get like all the little curves in it. And here's just a little graphic to show us kind of how circumference works. So you can see here's the circle, and you can kind of unroll it, and that measurement of that whole circle unrolled is the circumference. So we have a couple of questions here for our notes. Find the circumference in centimeters of each circle. Circles are not to scale. So what we have here is that we can find this by multiplying the diameter d by pi. So on question 1, we have the diameter that goes straight across, and that is 16. So we know that the diameter is 16. Oh, my pen's being a little weird. Diameter is 16. Circumference is pi times diameter. So the circumference of this circle is just pi times 16. When you guys are in high school, whenever you're working with pi, you're usually going to leave things written kind of like how we do with x's. You're going to leave it like 16 pi. But we're going to practice some rounding today and using pi on our calculator. So we just need 16 times pi. So 16 times pi, or 16 pi, and we're going to round to 2 decimal places. So that means I'm going to stop after 2, look at that next number, 5 or above, give it a shove, 4 or below, let it go and erase. So because we have a 5 after our 2 decimal places, we're going to go up. So this 6 is going to go up to a 7. So we're going to have 50.27 centimeters. So yeah, these are all in centimeters. So now that we did this first one together, why don't you try number 2? On this one, we can see the diameter is 19. So pause the video and try number 2 now. Okay, so hopefully you just did pi times 19. On our calculator, I can even just go through it right here and change the 16 to a 19. If we want to stop it here at 2 decimal places, we have 59.69. The next number is a 0, so we're going to let it go and leave it at 59.69 centimeters. So if you were measuring all around this circle, it'd be 59.69 centimeters. So if we unwrapped it like this graphic above, that's what we're talking about. Number 3 and number 4 are a little bit different. You can see instead of having the diameter, we have the radius. So the radius is 11.5. I want the diameter that goes all the way across. And I'm going to try to do my best to do a straight line through the center. So if the radius is 11.5, the diameter is 11.5 times 2. So this is 11.5 and this is 11.5. Altogether, our diameter on this circle is 23 centimeters. So now we can do circumference as normal, pi times diameter. So we're going to do pi times 23. So on our calculators, we're just going to change this 23. Round it to 2 decimal places. So we're going to leave it 72.25. Look at this next number, 5 or above. So this 5 is going to go up to a 6. So we're going to have 72.26. Oops, that's 6. So now, here you have number 4, where the radius is 8.5. Pause the video and try number 4 on your own. Okay, so we needed the diameter. We needed all the way across, not just halfway across. So 8.5 and 8.5 together. This is going to be 17 centimeters. So we can do pi times 17 or 17 pi. We will get 53.4. We're going to round it up to a 1 because the 7 next to it is saying give it a shove. So 53.41. Okay, so that's how we do circumference. Circumference is kind of like the perimeter of a circle, all the way around a circle. So when we're looking at these, the only trick is to make sure that we have the diameter. So we want all the way across. If they only give us the radius halfway across, we just need to double it. So here you have 6 practice problems. You can pick 3 of them to complete. And then we have our exit ticket. So calculate the circumference and then what is pi. So you can go back to the beginning of this video when we first start talking about it, or even look back at our notes. In class after this, we don't have an independent practice in Canvas or anything. We're going to have our pi reciting contest. So who can memorize the most digits of pi, and there may be pi prizes for winners. So that is it for today, and good luck on the contest.